Don't forget, just like all my videos, there are resources in the description below that you can use to apply the learning in this video. Please like and subscribe, it really does help. Hello and welcome back to IAmMe, where today we're going to be looking at the bus stop method. The bus stop method is often introduced in Year 4 in England, but has varying levels of difficulty. For this video, we'll be looking at dividing 2 and 3-digit numbers by a single digit. However, the method stays the same for bigger numbers and even when dividing by 2 or more digits. To start, we need to know what the bus stop method actually looks like. Ta-da! There it is. Now we will look at equations where there are no exchanges. Like this one, 48 divided by 4. To begin answering this, we need to put our numbers into our bus stop. 48 is the number that we are dividing, often referred to as the dividend. That goes inside the bus stop, beneath this horizontal line. I will turn that green so you know what number is the dividend. 4 is the number that we are dividing by, often referred to as the divisor. This goes on the outside to the left of this vertical line. I'll turn this blue so you know it's my divisor. Now, what we do is see how many times my divisor goes into my dividend's digits, each digit at a time. So, the first digit in 48 is 4. How many times does my divisor, which is also 4, go into 4? What I like to do is write my divisors times tables to the side of my question, just like this. Now I can work out how many times it goes into my first digit quite quickly by simply counting down until I found the digit that I need. In this case, I need to find 4. How many times down? It's the first number, so that means 1. I put that one above this line. That's where my answer will go. Now I look at the second digit of my dividend. It is 8. Again, I do the exact same thing as last time. I see how many times my divisor, 4, can go into 8. I look at my multiples and count down. 1 times 4 is 4 and 2 times 4 is 8, which means 2 is the amount of groups that I can make. So 2 goes above my answer line, like this, giving me an answer of 12. Now we will look at a question that requires us to exchange. With each level of difficulty, it is important to remember that the bus stop doesn't change. Where you put your divisor and dividend doesn't change, and the process doesn't change. It just adds an extra additional step. A question such as 96 divided by 4. Remember, the dividend 96 goes into the bus stop. 4, which is the divisor, goes on the outside to the left. Now, if you remember, I suggest you always write your divisor's multiples to the side, like this. Then, I see how many times my divisor goes into the first digit. The first digit here is 9. I look at my times tables and see if I can find 9. I can't. So what do I do? Now, I need to find the number that is closest to 9 without going past it. Well, I have 1 times 4 makes 4, 2 times 4 makes 8, and 3 times 4 makes 12. Well, I know 12 is bigger than 9, which means I must have gone past 9. So, I use the one before that, which is 2 times 4. 2 groups of 4 makes 8, which is less than 9. However, I haven't used all of my 9. Take a look. Here, I have 9 counters. I make 2 groups of 4, which goes above my answer line, but it still leaves me with 1 by itself. Where does that go? It can't just disappear. It goes here, next to my 6, creating 16. Why 16? It is 16 because the column to the left is always, no matter what, 10 times bigger, which means when I carry any digits, just like in subtraction, they represent tens. Here, I carried 1 digit, which means I had 1 10. With the 6 ones in that column already, makes 16. Now we divide 16 by our divisor. 16 divided by 4. Let's count down the 4 times table until we find 16. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. I know I can make 4 groups of 4 with 16. So 4 goes above the line, give me an answer of 24. But what happens if I was to divide 97 by 4? Well, it would be the exact same until the end part. I know 9 can be divided by 4 twice and 1 to be carried, just like when I was dividing 96. I also know that 4 times 4 is 16 and 5 times 4 would be 20, but 20 is too big. So what would I do? I use the number in the 4 times table which is closest to what I have. Anything left over will be a remainder. So 16, which is 4 groups of 4, is as close to 17 as I can get. As I said, 20 was too many. So what I do is take that 16, which is 4 groups of 4, put the 4 above, and then subtract it from the 17 which I have. I can do 17 subtract 16 to find my remainder, or I can see what the difference between 17 and 16 is to find my remainder. And that would simply be 1, giving me an answer of 24, remainder 1. And I would put my remainder 1 here. How about we recap what we've already learned to make our numbers bigger? Numbers like 4,286 divided by 2. I'll put my dividend, 4,286, inside, and my divisor, 2, on the outside. My first step is to always put my divisor's multiples to the side. It makes life so much easier. So, here they are. Now, I take the first digit in my dividend and see how many times my divisor goes into it. Or I can say, how many groups can I make of my divisor with my dividend? So how many groups of 2 can I make with 4? I count down my multiples and I find 4. So I can make 2 groups. What about the next digit? How many groups of 2 can I make with 2? I can make 1. It's the first number in my multiples. Next, 8. How many groups of 2 can I make with 8? I count down my multiples. I can make 4 groups. 4 here. And finally, 6. 6 divided by 2. How many groups can I make with 6? 3. 3 goes here. How about we look at a large number with multiple exchanges? Something like 2,499 divided by 7. We begin by putting our dividend, 2,499, into the bus stop, and our divisor, 7, on the outside. My next step is to write all my multiples to the left. When I become confident in this, I could begin to use my mental arithmetic and not write down my multiples. But for now, I'm writing my multiples. Then I look at my first digit, which is 2. Can I make a group of 7 with only 2? No, I can't. Let me check. Can I find a multiple of 7 that is close to 2 without going past it in my multiples? No. 7 is my first multiple of 7 and it is already bigger than 2. So what I do is I place a 0 above my answer line and carry the 2. These 2, as you remember, represent tens. Now my next number has 2 tens with it. So I have 2 tens and 4, which makes 24. I look down my multiples and see how close I can get to 24 without going past it. I see I can go 7 times 3. 3 groups of 7 make 21. I know 4 groups of 7 would make 28, but that goes past it. So I use that 21, the 3 groups goes above my answer line, and then I subtract 21 from the 24 which I had, like this. That means I have 3 left over. 3 which I didn't use, so I need to carry them along. Those 3 represent 3 tens. My 9 in my next column becomes 39, 3 tens and 9 ones. And I do the same. How close can I get to 39 without going past it? I know 5 times 7 is 35. 6 times 7 is 42, and that's past it. So I use the 5 for the 5 groups of 7 and put that above my answer line to make 35. But I had 39, and I need to subtract that 35 from 39, like this. Now I've got 4 left, and I carry them along. 4 tens and the 9 ones in my last digit makes 49. And finally, I look down my multiples and see how close I can get to 49 without going past it. Oh look, 49's in my multiples, which means 7 lots of 7 makes 49. 7 groups goes above the answer line, giving me this answer. There is nothing left over because I subtract 49 from 49, leaves nothing to carry, nothing to exchange. One last very important piece of information. When you come across the digit 0 in a question, can you make any groups with 0? No, you can't. So you put 0 above in your answer line. You must put the 0. You don't just ignore it, you must put the 0.